Our phone number is 1-800-771-1025. Lewis has been on hold here for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to jump because I want to come to something here in a minute about NFL athletes.
Okay.
I don't want to forget that. Don't let me forget that.
I won't. You know I love sports, so let's get into it.
Yes, I know you do. But let's jump to Lewis. Lewis just says he's got some issues getting worked up or whatnot. But Lewis, man, how can we help you today?
Yeah, no, I was just wanted to touch on that whole how we get into this spiral of negativity sometimes and we can't pull ourselves out of it,
Yeah.
And it all stems from, focusing too much on the problem and just not enough on the solution. A lot of times, it should be really 90% on the solution and 10% on the problem. That way you don't get caught up and overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that's
a big deal.
Yeah, man, I think that's absolutely a great way to frame that.
I also wanted to touch on is what's wrong will always be available. I've heard that phrase, that what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. So you got to start thinking what's right in your life, what's going on that's actually right in your life. And that way you can start getting yourself out of that rut, that routine of just focusing on problems and getting yourself in a bad mood. You were saying how some of the callers last week were mostly angry. Yeah. I think they're just angry because they're just concentrated on just the bad stuff, and we get caught up in that spiral.
Yeah, I agree. I disagree with the problem solution bit, because I just think for me personally, if how I get out of it is if I feel like I'm diving deep into a problem, I'll just settle in and just sit in what is and understand that this just part of it. This is all part of the human experience. There's no escape from it. So just being in what is, and then sometimes it just, things just seem to clear themselves up. As Alan Watts once said, the best way to clear muddy waters is to let them settle.
Yeah, patience. Yep.
Yeah, man.
That's about right, man. So it's just, it goes on everywhere. So, ultimately people get overwhelmed and they get depressed and they don't see a way out of it. And it's all in their mindset, really, their psychology.
Yep, 100%.
But, all right, well, that's all I just wanted to touch up, and you guys put up a good show.
Hey, thanks, Lewis, man. Have a great weekend, all right?
Love you, Lewis.
Hey, peace out.
All right, see you, man. I'm sitting with the problem solution thing, and I think I'd err on where you go. It all just is.
Yeah.
But, where my head goes with what Lewis was saying was, I think last time I checked, it's our most popular YouTube video, with like a whopping 70 views. We're getting there, building it by scratch.
Yeah, damn right.
At Let's Get Real Radio Show on YouTube. But it reminds me of when you talked about reframing what if.
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah, because we humans, men, do, like Lewis said, have a tendency to go, well, what if it all goes wrong?
Yeah.
What if I go bankrupt? What if I never get out of debt? But what if you get more money than you could have ever imagined?
Yeah.
What if you find the dream partner in your life? What if? And I remember that conversation, one, because I made you go watch yourself say those things.
Yeah, you did.
Because you're really smart and you like to help people. And in this situation, you actually helped yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you left a message for yourself for future you.
I got to tell you,
How do you do that?
That was one of the few, well, not one of the few times, but that was like, you ever get like the tingles, when like something just clicks? Mm-hmm. That was one of those moments when you sent me that and I watched it and I just, it was an explosion from my heart outwards. And I was like, God damn. Mm-hmm. That was good. Mm-hmm. That was good. That felt good.
So I want to, anyway, so I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about two things at once here. But I think it's true. Frame it like Lewis was saying, to be very, imagine the possibilities.
Yeah. And just let yourself be sometimes, you don't have, I find that we talked about distractions earlier, that when I'm hyper fixating on something, I find that the easiest way to get out of it is to just kind of take a look around, sit and be like, this is it. Like, this is it. I'm here and I'm happy and life is. There's nothing wrong with that.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know Ian Beckles.
Great guy.
But you've mentioned him before. I know he's on with Mike a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't know him. But everything I've heard about him is he's a really good dude.
Yeah.
And I also understand he's listened to the show before.
Yes.
So cool. Thanks, Ian, if you're listening. But I had this sort of thing come to me this week, over the last couple of weeks, because it's football season. And dude, I'm so excited that it's football season. I know you are. I recognize that we live in Tampa Bay.
Okay.
So everybody here is excited about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Since 8 years old, I've been a fan of the New York Jets. So I'm a de facto Bucs fan because I live here, but I'm always going to be a Jets fan. And for the first time in 15 years, the New York Jets are actually having a good season. And there's a couple of things that have happened because I just watch so much Jets content. And look, you can probably relate, not you personally, but the Let's Get Real community can probably relate because there's so much Bucs content. And I can actually tie what I'm about to say into Baker Mayfield. But I'm watching men. I mean, think about these. These are NFL players. These are the absolute elite specimens of this particular sport, the gladiators of modern day, okay? These are men. But when you hear them talk, what comes out of their mouth, not all of them, but a large majority of them, are always very deep. There's depth to what they talk about, whether it's their practice routine, whether it's their schedule. You know, how you do one thing is how you do everything, keeping the main thing. All these things that require focus and attention, staying in the now, staying in the present. And on the New York Jets, two things have happened in the last week, and I'll tie this into Baker Mayfield as well. Number one, our star defensive end, Jermaine Johnson, went out with an Achilles injury. So he's gone for the season. And what ends up happening, generally speaking, when somebody has an injury for the season is they just shut down and they go away and you don't hear it. So after this game, I was going through YouTube, some Jets content, and I saw like Jermaine Johnson. And dude, he just was like, God gave this to me for a reason. Like, this is part of my journey. This dude just learned he is going to not play football this season. And he was like the star defensive end for the Jets. And now he's just like, hey man, this is just part of my journey. This is just part of, like, he's got have faith tattooed on his chest. Yes, I actually know that.
That's cool.
But it's very much like that's a pretty emotionally intelligent human being that just got devastated news that was willing to talk to reporters and say, hey, it's all good. This is just part of my journey. And then the other example from the Jets is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is just awesome.
Yeah.
Big into ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Totally, understands what plant medicine's role in all of us is. But when he balled out Thursday night, 27 to 35 for 281 yards. This dude is 40 years old. Now, I know as Bucs fans, we're all like, yeah, it's been done before. His name is Tom Brady. He led us to a Super Bowl. But the fact of the matter is everybody was like, yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to play. Dude, he looked like he was 25. He looked better than Patrick Mahomes the other night. And then I know who Patrick Mahomes is because you're
Chiefs, right?
Yes. Yeah. You got it right.
Damn right.
But there's and to hear Aaron Rodgers talk in interviews, you will hear him use the word gratitude all the time.
Yeah. He knows.
And from the space of gratitude, all the things that you can do. And I'll tie this in since we live in Tampa Bay and we're all Bucs fans. If you watch Baker Mayfield do an interview when he was with Cleveland or even Carolina when he was younger, it was just like this kid was just, I don't even know the words to describe it. Immature. He was just, he was a kid. He was like 22 years old. Now as the quarterback of the Bucs, not only is he playing lights out every week, like the Bucs are real, okay? But Baker Mayfield, his interviews, dude, he's a different human being.
That's cool.
Now, some of it he attests to the fact that he has a kid. I think I heard that in an interview. But I've heard other sports commenters, because I listen to a lot of football podcasts, talk about Baker Mayfield, like who he has become as a human being, as a man. This dude is the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I come back to this whole idea, and what you said about Ian seems to be that he probably is held on to like a powerful, high emotional intelligence as he is, retired from football and left and gone on with his life.
He's incredible with his emotional intelligence.
But when you look at these guys, yes, they are really good at what they do. They are really, really good at what they do. But part of them is that when you listen to the words that they say, it's powerful.
It is powerful, and I could tell you that when I first met Ian, we were doing I don't know if it was the first time I met him, but the first time I really started hanging out with him was for the Mike Helta Punch-Out, and I was training to fight Martin Gramatica, and Ian offered me the opportunity to work out with him on Saturday mornings. I work out Monday through Friday already to train boxing, and then on top of it, I very much didn't want to work out on Saturdays, but he invited me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And it was during those Saturdays that he caused me to actually learn what it is to believe in myself, to accomplish things physically that I did not believe I could do. And it was all through, like what you said, it was just basically through words. He's just sat with me and was like, you can hold this weight up over your head, I guarantee it. And I was like, there's no way. He's like, I believe you can. Do you believe you can? And that was kind of this whole shift that started where he changed the entire way that I perceived what I could do in life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And having somebody, you know, again, NFL players are the elite. You know, if you're at that level, if you're playing in the NFL, you have proven physically that you can do something that only a handful of people on planet Earth can do. Like there's only, 22 starting players every single week on every NFL team. And these people like that, if you add up all NFL, that's not very many human beings. So they are the elite athletes. But to hear them talk, their level of belief, understanding, gratitude, feeling, like they are in touch with their own emotions and in touch with their physical bodies.